What's going on, everybody? Welcome to another episode of the Michael Lab Show. My cactus has just been falling all over all day. It's been falling down, falling up. I've had to clean it up twice off the floor, man. Just knocking shit over. Today I've just been knocking shit over. Man. We are back picking it up. All of us are just putting one foot ahead of the other foot every day. Doing the best we can, living the life that we want. At least the life that we're trying to get. All of us are trying to reach these goals. All of us are trying to reach these events. And all of us want to be happy. But sometimes life just is a motherfucker. And it doesn't let us do that. But damn. We're all trying. All of us are trying out there. And you know what? Sometimes it's the best we can do. Sometimes shit just doesn't go our way. Sometimes life just has a completely different plan for us at a time. And, sometimes we want things that we're just not ready for. Life has a weird way of doing that. It gives you things when you're ready for them. And sometimes it gives you things when you're not ready for them. And those are the important times, man. If you're not ready for something, but it presents itself and you lose because, maybe in 5 years when you're prepared for it, you could achieve it. Whatever the goal is, if you happen to get picked for the U.S. Olympic team to run, and you have a chance to go to the Olympics and run a mile under a certain period of time, but you're just not trained ready. You're just not ready for it. And that's something that you've wanted to do your entire life, It's something that you've always wanted to do. You've always wanted to go out there, run that marathon under 4 minutes or whatever the record time, or under 5 minutes. But the best mile you've ever done was 5 minutes and 28 seconds. But you just happen to get on the Olympic team. You're not ready for it. So you go out there and, yeah, of course you don't run it. Of course you don't run the marathon under, or the mile under 5 minutes. Because you're just not ready for it. But those are the times, man, that I think are most important. Those are the times that you gotta get back up and just put one foot in front of the other. And you know what? The time it came and you just weren't ready for it. But you have experience, you know what I mean? Like, you have experience in whatever the aspect of life is that you want to achieve, man. And, I think it's very important to just keep on picking up the foot, putting it in front of the other, and if you have to physically pick it up, and you just got to keep going, and life will, shit's just weird. It's been weird. It's been a weird weekend. I've had a good weekend. Just really, I guess, in my feelings right now, I'm very, life has been just strange, and I've had this overwhelming sense of, fuck, what am I doing this shit for? I've been back in school for a while, and the longer I go, the more I just kind of start questioning things like, what is it all for? Because the times where you're most happy are the times where you're doing the things that you don't even think about. Like, school's fun, and having a job that you like is fun, but the times that you appreciate the most are the times where weren't even planned, where people come over. Like, my girlfriend was up here this past weekend, and we just sat down and watched movies all day. That wasn't the plan. That wasn't what we wanted. That wasn't the intentions, but that's what we did. And those are the times where you just get lost in the moment. Those are the times where you just have the most fun. Those are the times where you really appreciate what's going on. And it's sometimes things just get confusing at times, and sometimes things just don't work out in the way you expected it to, and sometimes things just fall off kilter a little bit. But it's moments like that really makes you go like, damn, this is what it's all for. Damn, this is why I do what I do. And it's moments like that where everybody's on the couch and we're all watching Elf together. And it's only November 3rd at the time, but I don't care, because this is the times that you appreciate the most. The people that you appreciate the most, man, those are the people you need to keep around. Those are the people you need to keep around. And And you know that feeling. You know that feeling when you're doing wrong. You know that feeling when you're doing right. We all know that feeling, and it's trying to capture those times and really just, feeding, giving twigs and wood to the fire, and that's the direction you want to go on. And there's accomplishments that you have to do to elevate that and to increase the chances for that to happen more and more often. I think we're all just on that path. We're all trying to find our way. None of us know our way, and there's people out there who think they know, and there's people that showcase a life that they perfected. But meanwhile, inside they're burning up inside. And shit's just not going the way that they want it to go. I've had to learn that. Or I've had to experience that, man. You think some people have their shit together, but God forbid, dude, they don't. You know what I mean? And none of us do. I mean, all of us are trying to figure shit out, and all of us are complacent. All of us want more, and all of us don't know what we want. And all of us get lost, and all of us get confused, and all of us win, and all of us lose. But I think it's the times in your life that you love the most, are the times that you just didn't expect. The times where, things just weren't working out, and the next thing you know, boom, everything's okay. Everything's okay. And those are the moments that we want. Those are the moments that we live for. And I really have been thinking a lot lately about what is the meaning. I mean, what is all this? Like, we have one run at this. We have one run at this life. We have one run, as far as I know, at least as far as I'm educated on, and the most I'm ever going to know is the most that we have is this. This right here. I was listening to a podcast this past weekend, and it really dug deep into me. It was Bert Kreischer had a lady on who was Jeff Gaffigan's wife. I want to say Jamie. I think it was Jamie Gaffigan. She's telling her story, and she has a book that I really want to read, and she's telling her story about her life and where she came from, and how busy she got, and how much stuff was going on with her and her husband. Her husband's like a pretty big actor, but he's a huge comedian, and she's explaining her life and how she just got so caught up in everything from having 5 kids in Manhattan, and I'm going to tell a story about my life too in a second, but all these things just happening, and she just got caught up in it, and she kind of put her health off to the side. She kind of lost hearing, and she couldn't really, she was getting sick, and she was moving slower, and she just went to the doctors one day, and she got a brain scan, and she had a huge tumor in her brain, and she had a massive tumor that she's just been neglecting for so long, and it's like, and it completely changed the way she was thinking. She really started to appreciate the things that meant the most to her. And we've all been there, we've all gone through breakups. We've all gone through deaths in our family. And that feeling you get right after someone passes away. Or right after someone that took their life. Or right after someone that you really loved and really cared about is no longer there. That feeling you get where it's like everything else that you thought mattered, because you had this one thing in your life that was going really well. You had that anchor that was holding you down, and that you didn't have to worry about. It's like once that anchor is gone, and once your anchor is gone, and and once that comfort, that really comfortable thing in your life is gone, you really start appreciating how much that person or that thing meant to you. And that feeling you get where you summarize or you paraphrase every which way you're being pulled, and everything comes together, and you really start appreciating the few things that matter. Like the 1 to 2 or 3 things max, for me at least, that matter. Family. Having family close to me matters. The love I feel towards people, that matters. And to be able to live a moderately comfortable life. That hasn't always been me. I grew up, honestly, like really wanting to be super rich. I wanted to be super rich. I wanted to get rich quick, and I wanted to get rich now, because I was always so insecure about so many things in my life. I was always so insecure about my weight. I was always so insecure about my speech. I was always so insecure about my writing. I was always so insecure about the way I looked. Which is a coincidence now, because I speak kind of for a living. I do this podcast, and I have the ability to lose weight when I want to. And I do care about my looks, and I try to look good as much as I can. So all those three things that always were such a handicap for me, I've really taken charge of. But outside of those things, there's things that mean the most to you. When everything else goes wrong and everything else goes south and everything else falls apart, you can look around and those things are there. Those are the things that you should appreciate the most. And I wasn't always like that. I always wanted to be the funniest kid. I've always wanted to be the not the loudest, but I always wanted to be recognized. And I didn't do it by dangerous events or doing things that were illegal, but I did it by I guess really trying to showcase myself as this perfect person when inside I wasn't. Inside where I felt weak. We always feel weak. I mean, we feel weak so much, but we don't understand that weakness is okay. It's not until a certain age where you really realize weakness is okay. People ask me all the time, and I bring this up all the time, but I think it's very important. People always ask me, aren't you afraid about what other people are going to say about you with your podcast and the things that you say? Sometimes I say things that are risky, and sometimes I say things that are very personal. And people ask me, aren't you afraid to be judged? And my answer to that is no, I'm not. I'm not afraid to be judged. And a lot of this has to do, with my grandmother, but a lot of this has to do with me just realizing it's okay. And also, I know I'm going to be judged for whatever I do, whenever in my life, At any moment in my life, I'm going to be judged. But I would much rather have everything out, or not everything out there, but a lot of stuff out there, so I look like a normal person. If I do one podcast a month and I say something that's off the wall, yeah, people are going to be like, dude, what the fuck are you saying? But if I can explain myself, if I can really talk and I can really put myself out there, because I know everybody out there is a lot like me, different aspects of life. We're different in many ways, but all of us are human. All of us say things that are wrong. All of us say things that are beautiful, and all of us are beautiful people, and all of us mess up, and all of us, go left when we should have went right. All of us do right when we should have done the wrong thing, or we do the wrong thing when we should have done the right thing. But I want to be able to bring all that up, and I want to be honest and transparent on this podcast with you. That's why I do this. And, I think it's very important to just accept that you're sad when you're sad and upset when you're upset. Like, I'm pissed, dude. I hate Mondays. I love Mondays for two reasons. I love Mondays because it's the beginning of a week, and I love that feeling. I love the feeling of the beginning of a week because I love knowing that everybody's starting out fresh. And I love that because I have this very weird thing that I do when I feel like someone's getting ahead. I get very anxious. I get very anxious when I feel like I'm not ahead of the curve, That makes me very nervous. So I love Mondays in that sense because it's the beginning of a new week and shit gets popping, That's why I'm uploading podcasts now. I'm trying to upload a podcast every Monday because I think it's important to just get the day started, get the week started, and just kick ass, I think that's very important. But at the same time, I hate Mondays. Why? Because my girlfriend leaves. And, I talk about her a lot. And, and the reason why I talk about her a lot is because the impact that she has on me. She's really forced me to look within myself. She's really forced me to start appreciating what I have. She's really forced me to find a balance in my life. And a balance is everything. And I've never, ever in my life had balance. I was always so extreme with everything I've ever done in my life. But I've been forced to find this balance, and I think this balance is important. But when she leaves, it sucks because as much as I want to say, oh, when she's gone, I can get a lot done, and that's true on both ends, She loves school, and I love that she loves school. And she knows that I kick ass too when she's gone, but it's just there's an energy that is our energy, the positive wavelength, is thrown off a little bit when she's gone. And I know it's going to be okay. And I know she'll be back. And I know that once she comes back, everything will be cool again. But there is that sense of like, damn, man, I don't have anyone to turn to immediately if I need comfort. Or if I'm sad, if I'm happy, Yeah. I don't know. But it was a good weekend, dude. Just kind of hung out with the family. I mean, what did I do? We had this rope pool, which was cool, It was cool. It was like Annapolis versus Eastport. So it's like this big rope that crosses this little creek, and And basically, you just pull the rope, and there's teams, and our gym was was one of the teams. I think we faced like the firefighters or something on the other side. And it was a social gathering, which for someone like me who I don't do social gatherings. I don't really, if I have it my way, I'll be stuck inside all day. If there wasn't for people in my life who forced me to go out and interact with people, then I would be inside all day, and I would have no issue with that. But it was fun. It was fun. And I didn't think it was going to be as fun, just because I know me personally. I don't enjoy social gatherings, or at least I don't enjoy the thought of them. But once I'm there, I enjoy them. But I had fun, and our team ended up winning, which was cool. And I didn't think it was going to be fun, but I had a lot of fun doing that, and I had a lot of fun hanging out with the people, and getting to know people outside of work. It was cool. And then on Saturday, we hung out with a girlfriend's parents and her grandparents, and I love hanging out with the grandparents. They're just very down-to-earth people. They're cool to listen to. And then on Sunday, we just watched football all day, and we watched some movies. We watched some really good movies. We watched Elf, obviously, and then we watched something Cooper, which was a good movie. It was a Christmas movie again. I'm getting into Christmas, and I don't care. Whatever, dude. I that feeling you get when Christmas is coming near, I like that feeling, and I'm always gonna like that feeling. And I'm not afraid to say that, man. I do. I like Christmas a lot. Just a good time overall. Good weekend overall. I had fun this weekend, and it felt like people around me had fun too. There's one thing I want to hit on real quick. I was listening to a podcast, and this young kid called in about something that he was going through. Something that really hurt him, made him feel weak, which is something that a lot of men don't like feeling. Men don't like feeling weak. The most aggressive guys you ever see are usually the weakest men you're ever going to meet. Why is that? Why is it that very, very tough-looking men are men who have scars? Why are they the ones causing so much pain? There's something that's that isn't good. Being a guy, it's just being a guy, but being a guy who has insecurities and feels vulnerable at times, but can never find a balance in their life where they can be vulnerable, or they can be sad, or they can show these expressions or express their emotions in a way that won't be judged. I've always tried my hardest to be the friend for guys, for men especially out there, who they can talk to, and I'm not going to judge, or I'm not going to tell them things like man up, or I'm going to just listen to them like their mother does. Or I've always tried to be that guy who lets men find comfort in just talking to and being sensitive. And this guy called in to this podcast I listened to, called This Past Weekend with Theo Vaughn. And he was talking about a breakup that he went through. He was together for like 3 years. And he was talking about this breakup he went through. And to summarize it, he basically was like, she gave me many chances. And she told me that I wasn't open, that I wasn't honest, but I wasn't intentionally lying. I just wasn't honest. I was insecure. And I would tell her things that weren't fully the truth. I wasn't cheating. I wasn't breaking her trust, but I wasn't being honest with her. And she told me that she's tried to get through to me so many times. And he said something that I thought was that resonated with me, and something that I think can help a lot of men out there. And for girls out there, this isn't just about men. I mean, this is something that you can play for your men, for your boyfriends out there, for your dads out there. And it essentially was, after he explained it, after he went through the breakup, and after she explained everything, like, I'm trying to get through to you. You're not hurting me, but you're not telling me the truth all the time. You're not being vulnerable. You don't seem proud to have me as your girlfriend. And I'm thinking, and then he says something. He's like, man, I thought I would be pissed off at her. I thought I'd be mad at her. I thought that when she told me, I would walk away angry, and I would be calling in here and saying, fuck that, fuck that bitch, whatever, screw her, I hate her. But I wasn't. I felt disappointed in myself. I felt disappointed in myself. I felt like she was right, and I was wrong. And obviously not 100%. There's definitely things that happened. And this is him speaking just on the phone while the host, Theo Von's, listening. I feel like she was right, 80% right. And that hurt me more. I wish she was 100% wrong. I wish she was wrong. I wish I was open. I wish I could say that. I wish I could tell her, no, you're absolutely wrong. I was 100% honest every single moment of my life with you. I wish I could tell her, no, I am open with you all the time. And I do tell you the truth all the time. But I couldn't. I couldn't because I know I did wrong. And I know deep down inside this day was going to come. I know deep down inside this day was going to come. And I was going to feel this way. And I was going to feel like I did you wrong. And I hated that. And you had to bring it up because I was too weak of a man to really understand this. That call really got to me. Because there is something that I know so well, just from me being me. Like, I've gone through things before where I've just placed blame 100% on the other person. And it took months of just self-talk and experiencing more of life and listening to other people, having to force myself to listen to other people to realize there's so many things as a dude that you're taught as a child that you just feel like you can't. I'm trying to say this. I obviously don't rehearse anything I say, but there's something so scary. And I don't know where this comes from, but there's something so terrifying. At least, I don't know, maybe I'm just crazy, but there's something so terrifying. And I have so many friends that experience this where as being a dude, and I'm not making excuses, but sometimes guys would much rather push things away that they care about than having to internally look at themselves and realize I need to adjust myself here. And for that caller who called in, he was asking desperately, without asking, I don't like this person I am becoming. I don't like that I am not being fully transparent with her. I don't like that I am not being the man, the real man that I could possibly be. And I'm listening to this and I'm just thinking about all the times in my life where I would just write people off. Or all the times in my life that I thought I had my shit figured out. And I thought I was invincible. And I was never going to let anybody get close to me. I would never let anybody get close to me because then they have my heartstrings, Then they have control of me. And I don't want to hear anything from anybody. I only want to if I'm going to burn something down, I'm going to burn it down. I'm going to have no assistance from anybody else. And I didn't know what it meant to be open in a relationship. I didn't know what it meant to be open with somebody because I always had to protect that part of me. I don't know what that part of me was, and I've talked to my therapist about it before. I've talked to my girlfriend about it before, and I'm figuring that part out. But I never knew what that part was. I didn't want people to see myself. I didn't want people to You can see me like itching my skin, just like I guess nervous. I don't know. I'm not sure. But I didn't want to be as open as I possibly could because then it gave someone power, and I hated that. I hated knowing that somebody had power over me. That was the last thing I ever wanted. But I'm listening to him talk, and I'm thinking the only way you can ever find true comfort. This is crazy, but the only way you can ever find true comfort and true complacency and comfort and maybe not complacency. I don't think that's a word, but to find a moment of your life where you just feel comfortable and you're okay and everything around you feels okay. In order to achieve that, you have to give somebody as much trust as you can give. You have to open yourself up. You have to be vulnerable. You have to be transparent. You have to show your flaws, and you have to show that you are a broken person in some aspects. Or else you're never going to achieve the level of happiness that you deserve, that you want. There was a turning point in my life where I finally felt this. There's a few turning points, but one of them that really helped me the most, and one of them that allowed me to start getting the ball rolling. That at least allowed me to start finding some comfort. 1 second. Sorry about that. Yeah, but there was something that there was a moment where I really started letting myself open up. Maybe not to other people, but at least to myself. I started to develop a self analog, a conversation with myself, and this was. I was about 18 or 19. I was between 17 and 19. I think I was 18. And yeah, I was 18. And I was going to community college at this time. And I was just so, angry at the world. I wasn't in a happy relationship, and I wasn't happy with myself. I was overweight. I liked the job I was at, but I didn't understand where it was taking me. And I just was kind of resenting everybody. I didn't like that everyone was telling me what to do. I didn't like the path I was choosing for myself because I didn't feel like I was choosing. I felt like I was being controlled. And I wasn't depressed, but I was definitely upset. But I didn't know what I was upset about. I couldn't really be upset with other people. I was kind of just upset with myself. I was mad at myself. And at the same time that this is going on, at the same time I'm being pulled every which direction, someone that I love dearly, my grandmother, she wasn't doing too well, and she was kind of passing away. And my grandmother, I've spoken about her before on this podcast, but she was the greatest lady I've ever met. And I guess if you could have a modern day saint, if you could have an angel, she would have been it. She used to always tap me on the shoulder and she would say, "Turn around, Mike," and I'd turn around. I didn't see anything. She's like, "You see that?" I was like, "No." She's like, "You know what? You don't see it, but when you need it, it'll be there." And she called her my guardian angel. And she met I loved her, and I still do. And I get choked up thinking about her, and I hate that she's not here. I hate more than anything that my girlfriend Taylor has never got to meet her. That's something that will forever be on my heart. That's something that will forever be with me, and I don't like that she doesn't get to meet the greatest woman who I've ever ran across in my life. But at this time where I'm just not happy, just nothing's fucking working out, and I'm just angry. And I've been thinking about dropping out for so long, and I just don't know what I'm doing. I don't know what I'm doing. I know I know what I'm supposed to do. My wheels are just turning every which direction, and I'm not happy. Just not happy. Like, I'm going to bed anxious. I'm waking up pissed off that the sun has come up again. I gotta go to this bullshit place again. As all this is going on, my grandmother, she's sick, and she's sick. Like, she's actually sick. Not like grandma's sick, but it was like grandma's sick. That sickness where people say sickness because they don't want to say that they're dying. The sickness where it sounds so much more unstable than I'm sick. Hopeless. It was a hopeless sickness. Grandma's sick. Not grandma's sick, but like grandma's sick. She's sick in the hospital. She's in the hospital. And weeks before that, I saw her. I didn't know how to deal with it. I didn't want to deal with it. That was the thing. I didn't want to deal with that. I didn't want to believe it. I didn't want to believe it, and she just wasn't herself. She just wasn't herself, and she was weaker. She wasn't as jolly. The room wasn't as bright. It was darker. Her skin tone was fainter. It wasn't full with red cheeks, and she didn't have chocolates right next to her all the time, and she wasn't. She didn't have the same pep in her step. She didn't have her same pep in her step, and she didn't smell like grandma. She smelled sick. She smelled sick, and I was scared. I was young, and I'm still young, but I was scared at the time, and I didn't want to deal with it. I didn't want to fucking deal with it. I wanted to keep living in my imaginary world. I wanted to keep putting shit off to the back burner. I didn't want to confront anything. I was weak. I was weak as fuck, man. I was so weak. I was weak. And I'm at school, and I get a phone call from my dad, and my dad never calls. My dad only calls if someone's dying or if someone's dying. Like, he doesn't call me. And I pick up, and he says, "Hey, Mike, you busy?" I'm like, yeah, I'm in class. I'm kind of in class. I'm in class. And he says, I think you should come to the hospital. And I get fucking pissed. I get so mad, and I feel like shit for saying this, but I was so pissed off, dude. Fuck, man. Damn it. I'm like, okay, I'll come to the hospital. And I drive to the hospital. Blur. I don't really recall any of it. I remember just driving down Ritchie Highway and finding a parking spot at the top level. And I remember walking in, and what caught me off guard the most was the lady at the front desk. She wasn't shocked, dude. This is what she does all day. She deals with this shit all day long. And I remember her saying, "Who are you here to meet?" And I say, Mary, I say, Grandma Mary. And she's like, huh? Part of me is like, fuck you. You should know Grandma Mary. But of course she doesn't know Grandma Mary. So I say Mary Potter, and she points me to the direction. And I look down the hallway, and there's just people lined up. There's people lined up to see my grandmother. and everyone's crying. Everyone's crying, and everyone's broken. Everyone's broken, and I go in there, and my mom is just distraught. I don't think my sister came. I don't really remember, but I remember a lot of cousins and aunts and uncles, and the whole gamut was there. And I remember going in there, and I remember my grandma always saying that when my time is up, you will know. When my time's up, you would know. And when my time's up, I'm gonna be okay. I'm gonna be okay. I'm gonna be okay. and I want everyone else to be okay. And I'm thinking this the whole way, the whole way in there, and I go in there, I go into the hospital room, and I'm tough man, dude. I'm being tough, right? I'm being tough. I'm a tough guy. I'm a tough guy at this age. You know what I mean? Nothing fucking bothers me. I'm tough, bro. So I walk in there, and on the bed, it's my grandmother. It's my grandma. What's up, grandma? How you doing, grandma? How's it going, grandma? 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 Fuck. So I go over there, and her hand's still warm. She still got blood pumping. And she wasn't going to go down without seeing me. And as I'm seeing her, my whole life, my whole history just flashes before my eyes. From everything, from the days when she brought over strawberries every day. She would bring over strawberries every Friday. The day she would take me to church and slap me on the wrist when I wasn't paying attention. The day she would force me to go say hi to the father, to the priest. The day she would smack me with a wooden spoon, if I was acting up. The days she would come over and babysit us. The days she had those Russian stacking dolls, and Jennifer and I would always go over there. We would always stack them up, stack up and down, up and down. And everything started flashing before my eyes, and I started feeling guilty that I never told her how much she meant to me. I never told my grandmother how much she meant to me and how much of an impact she had on my life. I was never vulnerable to anybody like I was vulnerable to her. I was never vulnerable because I understood that she understood that she would listen. And I knew that she I don't know, I was just so open with her about everything, all the time. And I loved her to death. And as she was laying on that bed, my heart was broken, but I felt comfort. I felt comfort for a few reasons. A few of them, I felt comfort because she told me that the guardian angel was next to me. She told me that I was okay. I was okay because my guardian angel was next to me, and I believed in that. I believed in that, and I still do to this day. I may not be religious, but I do believe in something. I don't know what it is, but I believe in something. Who am I to not believe? And I go over there and I grab her hand, and her hand's warm. She's not talking. She's not even really looking at me. You can see that she's still alive though, and she's still beating. And I go to kiss her forehead, and I kissed her forehead, and I kissed her hand, and I'm in there all by myself. My mom's in the doorway with my cousin, or with my Aunt Lillian, and everyone's just out there crying, and I'm in there with Grandma, and this is as I remember it. And I kiss her forehead, and I kiss her hand, and I turn around, and I look over my shoulder, and she's kind of up off the bed a little bit, and I could see her last breath go, and then she, as far as I know, and I don't know, but I watched her take one of her last breaths, and she passed away. She passed away. And I felt freedom. I felt this sense of I felt like a part of me was taken down. Like this big shield I had up around my body was just gone. Like I couldn't bullshit anymore, This person I loved is gone. She's in the afterlife. I don't know what that is. I don't even want to think about it right now. And I don't know what it was. I don't know what it is. I have no idea. But I do know that the one person I cared about, the one person I loved, and the one person I was vulnerable with was gone. And I was sad. I was devastated. I was angry. but I felt peace within. I felt like she taught me what it was like to be vulnerable. What it was like to be vulnerable. And I used to always tell her, like, I can't wait till you meet my wife, Grandma. And she didn't get to. She didn't get to, but I never would have found somebody that I loved so much if it wasn't for my grandmother. There's something magical about that, right? There's something magical about that. Even though she never got to meet the person I love and the person that I will marry and the person that I care about more than the person I care about. Let's just say that. My grandmother, never got to meet her, but my grandmother taught me what it was like to be a man, to be a vulnerable man, to develop relationships, what it was like to be open in a relationship, to hold your girlfriend's hand when you don't want to because you don't think it's cool, or you think if you hold your girlfriend's hand, other girls won't think you're cute, or some shit like that, some bullshit like that. My grandma taught me what it was like to actually be a man. And what it was like to love. And what it was like to understand. And she would always say Grandpa Jack was talking to her, which was my grandpa who passed away before I even met him. I never met him. And he was young. He was young when he passed away. And I think my mom was like 22 when he died. And I couldn't imagine that. I couldn't imagine that. My mom's she's fucking powerful, dude. I don't think I give her enough credit, but she is one powerful motherfucker. She is. She's a workhorse. That's all I gotta say. And yeah, and that's that's kind of the weekend I've had. I've had a weekend where I was just really was thinking when I had the whole family there last night, and we're all watching a movie, and some of us are bickering and some of us are angry. Or like I was saying, like my grandma never got to meet Taylor, but she is the reason why I was able to be where I am with Taylor. Why we have such a fulfilling relationship. Good, obviously, but I don't like the word good, but fulfilling. A understanding relationship, a freedom relationship, a relationship where I have full trust in her all the time. All the time. I have no reason not to, and she has full trust in me. She has no reason not to trust me. And it's because I can be so vulnerable with her, and she accepts that vulnerability. And I accept her vulnerability. And I'm that way because a lot of it has to do with my grandmother. She taught me that. She let me, yeah. But that's why that's how I felt this weekend. I felt that way this weekend, and I used to be that guy who, like, closer Christmas came, like I used to be like, oh, it's not even Thanksgiving yet. Why are you celebrating Christmas? And you know what? Fuck that. Fuck that. I'm going to celebrate Christmas. You know why? Because I feel like my family's there. And I feel close. And I feel connected with everybody. And I feel like everybody's just happier. You know what? What the fuck is wrong with that? What's wrong with that? What's wrong with feeling happy? What's wrong with having family close to you? Nothing. Nothing at all. Why not? Because you're scared? No, fuck that, dude. And I felt just happy this past weekend. And that's kind of how I'm going to live the rest of this year and into next year. And that's how I'm going to live the rest of my life, is I'm going to do the best I can to better myself and to achieve a life of comfort. But you be damn sure that I will also be obtaining that vulnerability in relationships that I care about. And, that's just kind of, when I heard that guy call in, I was like, dude, you have to find a part of yourself where you can be honest with yourself. You got to find time to be honest with yourself. Write down things. Try to understand yourself. It's so easy to just be closed off to the world. It's so easy to just be closed off to the world. It takes no effort to do that. It's easy to do. But I think where you find most comfort in I think the place where you will find the most comfort in the relationships and the moments where you can just feel okay, and that's kind of what I wanted to cover on this podcast. And, it's coming down to an end, and I only have like 5 minutes left, but that's what I wanted to cover. I wanted everyone to go into the rest of the year. I want everyone to go into the rest of the holidays. We say Thanksgiving coming around, we have Christmas coming around, and family's coming into town, man. We're gonna be hanging out with family. We're gonna have our differences. We're gonna have our times where we don't like this person for whatever, and we like this person for whatever. And I don't want to talk to this person for whatever, and I have a grudge for this reason or that reason with this person. And think about my grandma. Think about the person who taught you the highest level of happiness. And think about the person who said, fuck all that, And really taught you to appreciate what you have. And let the grudges go. Let the anger you have towards someone go. Because when they're on the deathbed, you don't want to live with that. You don't want to have that feeling in your gut. You don't want to have the emptiness in your gut. You don't want to have another girlfriend leave like that young gentleman did, because you can't be honest with her. You can't be honest with yourself. You don't want that. No. None of us want that. So start taking care of yourself. Start taking care of yourself. Take out a notebook and write down everything that you're scared of. Every single thing that you're scared of. Write down why you think you're scared of it. And with people that you trust, ask them what they think about it. And even with the people you trust, the people that you trust the most are going to try to take care of you the most. Like, they don't want you to feel pain in certain ways. So you even have to be honest with those people. You got to be, no, be honest with me. Don't bullshit me. I want you to be honest with me. They're not going to want to all the time. But you're going to even have to make those people be honest with you. And you're going to have to find what it is. You got to find what it is. And once you find it, it's going to be scary. But I promise you that once you find it, and once you start digging deep in it, you're going to find some darkness in you. And you're going to find some vulnerable areas in you. But don't stop. Keep exploring that shit. Keep it forward. You keep moving it forward. Keep moving it forward. And then start living a life of just honesty with yourself. Do things that you want to do. Do things that will make you a better person. Don't start living for other people. Live for yourself. Live for yourself. Take care of yourself. Once you take care of yourself and once you're honest with yourself, everything else will start working out for you. For the better. But yeah, guys, that's all I got to say. And I hope that helps somebody out there. I hope that helps somebody out there. Like, I talk about my grandmother a lot, but that's because she really did play an impact on my life. Yeah, she did. Damn, dude, could you imagine? I wish I could have her on. Sometimes I go by her house and I just sit there. It's not abandoned. Someone else lives there. It's a senior citizen community, so people are always passing away. But I always go there. I just stare at her house. So many memories there, so many memories, and just having her. She was here at this current house too. So I look around and I see things, and I see her every once in a while. And when the door opens a certain way, because the door used to open like, she would step up. There's like 2 steps from the door. She would step up, open the door a little bit with her cane, and then she would get the other foot up, and then push it even open all the way. So if the door opens like if it goes like to-do, like just a little crack and then opens all the way, I think of her. I cry about her. I've cried many times talking about her to my girlfriend, to Taylor. But yeah, I think I'm gonna go ahead and end the podcast there, and I hope this episode helps somebody. I try to be open. I try to be honest with you, and I try to hopefully bring you a better Tuesday, and hopefully you can bring yourself a better Tuesday, and I hope that you start appreciating everything around you, and I hope you start finding honesty with yourself, and I hope that you can really start believing yourself and trusting yourself, and knowing that you are the best person out there, and everything in your life that you have right now is there for a reason. And you're going to get stronger, and you're going to get weaker, and you're going to get happier, and you're going to fall apart. But just keep the ones that you care about close to you. Don't hold grudges. Love the ones that you love. Yeah, guys. Episode 39. Episode 40 is next. I think we have like 4 weeks of school left, so we're closing into the end of that. Going to New York City semi soon, which I'm excited for. It's just a day trip because that's all I could really handle. Unless I got like a 4 or 5 days down there, like a nice hotel, but that's expensive, and I just don't have the money right now. But hopefully you guys enjoyed episode 39. If you did, please just show us some love, comments, likes, subscribe, leave it a rating, please, on Apple Podcast and Spotify. But I'm gonna catch you guys in episode 40. Thank you so much for listening. Have yourself a beautiful, beautiful week. See ya.